Well, hello everybody, I'm back again. I'm here to do a contest entry, just getting in under the wire for the guy that everybody's talking about on the VC, Jeff Kempin. Wow, man, every second video I see is an entry into this contest, and I gotta say, buddy, you hit it out of the park. So, if you don't know Jeff, I can't see how you don't. He's running a contest right now, and he was looking for 5 riffs. It could be guitar, it could be bass, it could be keyboards, it could be maracas, I guess it could be anything. So I've seen so many, I haven't watched them all. I'm hoping I found something original that everyone hasn't watched 10 times over. And my theme is the 80s, right? The 80s. Who knew there was good music made in the 80s? Good riffs we can talk about. I think I got a variety of, well, I guess it's guitar and bass, I guess, are the two that I've sort of gone into. I don't think I have any keyboards, do I? No, guitar and bass. All right, let's start random. Okay, this one's a little different than what we've seen. Duran Duran, first album. When did this come out? Right at the start of the decade, 1981. Look at that style. Simon, John Taylor, Andy Taylor, Roger Taylor, and Nick Rhodes. Changed my life, these guys did. And I'm man enough to admit it. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, if you, this little piece of flimsy vinyl from 1981 is one of the best sounding albums you can put on your stereo, because this is a highly produced, tightly produced album. And on top of that, the bass line by John Taylor on the second song on side 1, Planet Earth. Now that's a riff. It comes thundering in, and you can see why people were just walking along at the end of the 70s, minding their own business, and this band came out of nowhere. They were equally as talented for their musicianship as they were for their good looks and their pretty boy features. These guys did know how to make music, which is why they're still going strong today. And John Taylor was a hell of a bass player, still is. Makes a really good interview, too. There's several interviews with John Taylor on YouTube. And I think he had the best hair too, didn't he? All right, Duran Duran, Planet Earth, bass by John Taylor. Excellent. Let's stick with the bass. This is, well, I guess this isn't the 80s. This is obviously 1977. Duh. I was just thinking Talking Heads in my head. My talking head. This is the debut album, and this is Tina Weymouth. Also a good-looking group of people, eh? One of my all-time favorite bands of all times, Talking Heads, post-punk, New York City, led by David Byrne, but Jerry Harrison, Chris Frantz, and Tina Weymouth did their thing, and this is an original Canadian pressing on the Sire record label. And the bass line I'm talking about is a little song called Psycho Killer. And it's not a complicated riff, but man, does she play it wonderfully. The way it was produced, the way it sounds, even live, it's a fan favorite. I love, love, love Tina Weymouth. There's a good documentary on her right now on YouTube. And another great album. Great debut. One of the best. Now we'll go... Actually, this is another bass. You may have heard of this band, The Jam, led by Paul Weller, Bruce Foxton on bass, and Rick Butler on drums. This is the 1982 album, The Gift. This was their last proper album before Mr. Weller split the band up to form the Style Council with Mick Talbot. This was on the Polydor label, as was all of the Jam records. And, certainly not their strongest album, but has a couple of great songs on it, and the one that I'm talking about is A Town Called Malice. The bass line on that is phenomenal. Bruce Foxton was and is a great bass player. In fact, Paul Weller has had him back several times in his solo career to play bass because he is very much a great bass player. Everyone knows A Town Called Malice. Starts with the organ riff, funny enough. And but the bass line in the song is fantastic. Another song that could, Running on the Spot, has a great riff as well. You know, these guys are a tight three-piece. They're all riffing all over the place in everything they do, and this one's no exception. So yeah, Town Called Malice, the jam, Bruce Foxton. So we'll go to some guitar. This is the Smiths. Hatful of Hollow. This is a 1984 rough trade, gatefold. And we're talking about this guy right here, Johnny Marr. You know, some would say one of the greatest guitarists out of this decade, the 80s. The Smiths were no slouches. Amazing lyrics and voice by Morrissey. Amazing rhythm section with Andy Rourke and Mike Joyce. And of course, we're talking about Johnny Marr, and we're talking about the song. What are we talking about on this album? Oh yeah, How Soon Is Now is on this. Also on Sire. They had all the good acts at this time. This is original Canadian pressing, and yeah, I mean, if you don't know How Soon Is Now, Google it, watch it on YouTube. Absolutely amazing guitar riff. I remember being in clubs and that you just hear that guitar riff start and you'd be like, man, here we go. Great album. I love the Smiths. I love Morrissey. Kind of an interesting guy, what he's become, but anyway. And last but not least, I'm going to go with, you know, I could argue that this particular guitarist almost invented the riff in this decade. Brought the riff back. How's that sound? Who brought the riff back in the 80s? The Edge. Man, the Edge is the guitarist. I mean, he was phenomenal. You cannot not think of a U2 song and not think of the great guitar riffs that the Edge would throw in there under Bono's soaring vocals. You know, playing off of one of the greatest rhythm sections of all time with Larry Mullen and Adam Clayton. This is The Unforgettable Fire. And there's so many riffs through this album that are fantastic, that just define an era. This was their album that followed war. This came out in 1985, 4? Where did this come out? I can't even see a date. I was in grade 10, so I'm going to say 84, because I listened to this on my Walkman on the school bus every day for that year. And there's Larry and Adam. And there's Bono and the Edge. This has some amazing, probably a lot of people consider this their finest album. A Sort of Homecoming, Pride in the Name of Love, The Unforgettable Fire, Bad. Those are the big songs. And then for filler, you've got Wire, Promenade, 4th of July, Elvis Presley in America, and Martin Luther King. This is the original Canadian pressing. This one's not hard to find. But there you go, Jeff. There's your 5 riffs. And yeah, it was good thinking about this topic. I hope you're feeling better, man. I saw your update video and I heard saw you're not feeling good. So, you know, hopefully you can shake the bug and announce the winners, and head for the next 500. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Peace out.